Hello and welcome back to Coach's Corner. This is December's episode of Coach's Corner, and once again I'm joined by Adam Kent. There he is. How are you doing, Adam? You alright, mate?
Hello, yeah, all good. Thanks for having me back.
Good, welcome back, Adam. So this episode of Coach's Corner is all about closing out 2021 and what to focus on as we run into January. So the structure of the podcast today, we're going to look at some highlights of 2021. We're going to look at how to close out the last couple of weeks, and then what you're doing to prep yourself for January, what I'm doing, and what we're advising team people to do. But before we go on to that, let's quickly talk about Adam. If you've, for some reason, not been listening to the podcast or watching us on YouTube, Adam is the leading head coach at Virgin Active in Clapham Common. So he runs the whole PT product there, and he's also a master trainer, personal trainer. So he's part of Virgin Active's elite personal training crew. Adam's been around for quite a long time, and he jumps on the podcast and gives his input and advice of how to run a PT business. And Adam, I don't know if you know, but the video we did on Recruitment Day is actually overtaking the one we did on floor walking in terms of how many people are interested. I always thought the floor walking one would be the most popular, but people are loving the Recruitment Day one, which is great.
I would think that though, like in terms of the steps of the job, you need to get the job first, then to do the floor walking. So makes sense.
So a lot of people have been watching it, and I went to a Recruitment Day the other day, and they went, "Oh yeah, I saw you on the video. I watched your video on Coach's Corner with Adam," and I was like, "All right, how did you find it?" She goes, "It was great. I watched it 3 times." And I was like, "Oh right, you've been getting my YouTube stats up." Yeah, nice. It was an hour and 5-minute video as well, so no wonder my stats look pretty good.
Okay.
Right, anyway, so welcome back, Adam. At the time of recording this video, COVID is kicking around somewhere. And
Omicron.
Mr. Omicron, something might be happening in a few days. What do you think was going to happen? Just so they can say they heard it here first.
Well, we've had a few little chats as well, and again, it's one of those things. It's only ever going to be speculation, so I wouldn't say that any of our words would really carry that much weight about it. I suppose for us is that we've been here before, and in terms of thinking about the business going forward, it would really do a disservice, I think, to start shutting down gyms again and kicking PTs out into the park, and especially in this time of year. And it's a disruption that's not wanted but might be needed. You know what I mean? So it's for the experts to decide.
I just don't know what the other option is. I don't know. You just have to see how it goes. The only good thing about Christmas is that people are going to disperse. I'm saying that it's not a good thing, is it? You're going to go back home. You're going to go from a big city to like a local town or whatever. Yeah. I'll be very surprised if we don't go into some form of circuit breaker, but as long as it's got clear instructions when we're coming out and it's not anything too long, 2 weeks max, I just don't want to carry that negative energy into 2022. It'd be so good if we could just go in, like, at worst, whatever that second week is, Monday 10th, hopefully it's no longer than that. But we have not just got out of Cobra meeting, this is something we just made up, so let's see what happens. But I'll be surprised if there's not something, like, literally this didn't exist until Tuesday last week, and then all of a sudden it just went, life was normal, and it just went on this massive dive.
And I do wonder a little bit if the fact that people were coming out and saying that it's so mild, it's just like, it's the least of all the variants, that people were like, waving their hand of it, just be like, I'll crack on. And then, in the last week or so, and because we've had these chats, that so many people have either isolated because of a partner or they've contracted it themselves. And then the last week has a bit of a nosedive because, we book our weeks out in advance, so we know how many sessions we should be delivering. But then when you're looking at the end of the week and you're suddenly doing half that number, and you're like, there's a sign of things to come.
I don't know any PT that's not lost sessions in that final week beginning 13th. I don't know any PT that's not lost sessions due to COVID, where people are either afraid to come in the gym, got COVID, and it's kind of like, even in our industry, there needs to be some form of if they're telling people to isolate, there does need to be some form of support soon. You know, our industry is not the worst here. It's the hospitality industry that's been destroyed. But like, it's just negative. But hopefully we get answers soon, and it's not as bad as we thought. But I'm aiming off that there'll be a 2-week circuit breaker, and I'll be going back to work on Monday 10th. That's what I've mentally prepared for. If I go back sooner, then great. If it goes back later, then God's sake, it'll be a stressful time. But let's focus on positive. So what we're going to do, mate, is I've got super cool with my filming these days, and I can switch between each one of us. And what we're going to do, we're going to have a little focus on, if you watch this on YouTube, you'll see it, closing out 2021. Sorry, the highlights of 2021. So we're going to look at your highlights first, then mine, and look what I can do here, Adam. Boom, there you go. Ooh, okay. I want you, mate.
Wide shot.
Yeah. So what's so let's talk about your 2021, like things that have gone really well for you, because you've actually had a really good year in terms of like team targets, revenue.
Yeah, we've done really well at Clapham, and I think it's just been a bit of a perfect storm because even though we're Zone 2, we're very close to the city. We're very much that sort of commuter-esque area where you can literally hop on a tube and be in the city in about like 5-10 minutes. So we had that sort of influx of all the sort of closed clubs. When I say closed, it's more that people are starting to work from home, people aren't going into the city, so we were getting a massive wave of new clients coming into our gym. So we found that with that bounce back, we managed to keep a level of consistency and build and grow throughout the leading months, or the running months up to Christmas. And even in Christmas, we've still picked up quite a bit, and we've still grown. So we want to think it's a good sign, but again, not trying to focus on any negativity. I think that because we've done this, we've set ourselves up so well for the new year that if there was any disruption or there was any like lockdowns or closing of the gyms, I think we would still be okay when we opened up. I don't know if that would be the same for other gyms, not just the ones in Virgin Active, but you hear these slight little horror stories, of people, we've spoken about it, having a viable business, so much disruption, they come back and it's just,
not that anymore.
Compared to smithereens, all their clients have moved, or they've cancelled, they're focusing on something else, they've lost their jobs and stuff like that. So we've been really lucky this year that we haven't had too much in that, and when we have, we've managed to come together as quite a bit as a collective and really help boost ourselves up. So most of my PTs are doing as a minimum, our session average is around about 15-16 sessions a week, but my top guys are all doing like sort of like 30s.
Nice.
So they're all full time.
Did you get any new team members between April to today?
We not to like talk too much and give too much detail about what's happened within our club, but we actually have had some issues with people coming back and even suffering from the sort of mental health side of lockdown, and we've really tried to facilitate and help out with that, but it's so challenging in this industry to be wary of things like that. So you have to be so self-sufficient, you can't have any disruptions, and when something like anxiety or depression takes over, do you take a break? It's really hard to do as a personal trainer, to take time away from your business, because the more time you take away, the harder it is to get back on track.
Yeah.
So it was such a minefield of dealing with things like that. It was. We've had people come and go because of stuff like that, and it's really disheartening because we've lost actually some great trainers because of things like that. And we've hired some great trainers as well. One of the newest girls that we had, she had a very disruptive start to her induction, but say in December she's picked up like 5 new clients, and it's December, you know what I mean? It's just like, cool, what are you doing? Oh, I'm just going to be here every day, you know what I mean? I'm just going to talk to everyone. Oh, okay, cool, awesome, 5 new clients.
But in terms of so you're a bit movement in your team, but you've been smashing your targets, smashing your revenue, getting your bonus, and it's been pretty good 2021 for you, considering.
It's just been a focus on trying to keep the team collective together. Because as much as PT is very kind of individual, it's very much, you know, I come in, I work hard, and I reap rewards of that. You are very much a product of the environment as well. So if there are good trainers in your gym, you kind of bounce off each other. In a way, your competition, yeah. But you know, you work to uphold the high standards of your sessions. You know, you can't slack because there's a fantastic trainer literally training a client next to you, and they're going through their program, they're, you know, demoing, they're correcting in such a professional and brilliant manner that you can't slack. So if you have like 5 of those guys surrounding you every session, it's like, oh, okay, great. You know, I really have to up myself to, you know, even stand a chance of, you know, being successful. So it just brings the whole collective up by trying to keep a really coherent but well organized team. Yeah. And I feel that's kind of brought that element of success to Clapham. We just got a fucking banger team. Pardon my language.
Good. Mate, no, really good stuff. So on my side, you know, with the movement of trainers, I totally see that as well. So with the recruitment side, I run for Gymbox. I've seen people come in and go because, like, when we opened, we gave trainers the opportunity to come back, but their kind of situation had changed because they weren't on furlough. It was, you know, as a self-employed gym, like all the self-employed gym, it was like, we'll let you know when they're open. We gave rent relief when people started again, and it's just like, if you want to come back, there's an opportunity to come back. We'll try to support you the best we can. And then a chunk of trainers were like, I'm just going to go online now. A chunk of trainers left London. A chunk of trainers just kind of stayed outside, and we had just such a movement in their across the clubs, which it's not a bad thing. Yeah, we did lose a load of good trainers, but like it's also like, you know, we don't expect them to be here forever as well. Yeah. So we opened our club site. If you want to come back, guys, we can try to support you. And then over especially that April to August, when we went into September, we had the solid few that was left. Like when we went into September, it was like, right, all these guys will be here now for the foreseeable. And we kind of then we had the solid base to build off, and by build off is like, we know where the gaps are in each club, we know which trainers we need to backfill in each club. So it's been a bit, you know, that was quite, you know, the first few months of just trying to figure out where the team is, and then the back few months have been really good in terms of recruitment, putting the right trainers in the right club, and the people we've put in since, you know, August have been doing really well, which has been great. So a few of my highlights in terms of working stuff for Gymbox is the recruitment side of getting new trainers in and seeing new people coming through. And what I love when I run the recruitment days is when people tell me their stories of like, well, I got qualified, then COVID happened, and then I did this, and you're like, oh, that was a tough year and a half, like for your first job. And like every recruitment story is like, I did this, I was working here, then COVID happened, that gym never opened, so I did this and this, and you got to see what trainers did in between. It was great. So we've had some really good recruitment days this year. We've had some really good intakes of people start. I've had some good courses. I've taught 9 courses this year, which I've really enjoyed doing, and as I'm a teacher, I've been developing the course, which has been great. And I've moved gyms. You know, I switched over myself. I switched from Cannon Street to Elephant and Castle, and I absolutely love it there. Gave you a little tour of the gym last month.
Yes, I was very impressed.
Yeah, I absolutely love it there. So you know what? There's a lot happened this year, but overall I've had a really good year work-wise. Right, so with that, Adam, then, carrying the positivity, what's your plan 2022? Let's just pretend there's no COVID. We start January. What's kind of the things you're looking forward to really getting stuck into, both in the work, as in your managing world, and in your own PD world?
Well, I think there'll be some crossover, but for business side of things, for me, mine's just always going to be recruitment, because I have a fantastic team and a really solid platform. I just need more of it. And what I've kind of come into is a bit of a conundrum. Probably one of the first times in recruitment for me is that I don't know now what I'm looking for, because what I used to look for like for all niches, and I used to go, right, do you know what? I need someone to fill in this slot, someone to do this, someone to do that, and I need someone like I need a big, strong bodybuilder dude. I need a fitness kind of, I would say like holistic yoga type girl. And I need, I needed to fill all these different niches. But like 4 of the guys that I have at work are all in the same kind of like, strong strength and conditioning, really good looking, in shape guys, and they're really successful. I'm like, should I just get more of those kind of guys?
Yeah.
Should I just fill out my gym with just really, like big buff dudes? Yeah, what I mean. I think that's what I'll do. So I might be on the lookout for that, but obviously, that's not at the forefront of my mind. It's just making sure the right candidate comes through who just has good work ethic. The last couple of hires I've had have been awesome. So, and they've far away from the big buff dudes, and they're being very, very successful. So it's not that. It's that's it really. So I'm probably going to change up my recruitment structure as well. So I used to do a lot of the individual base, but because I'm getting quite a lot of candidates coming through, I might now start doing like recruitment days like we used to back in the day, like the big Fit for VA. And I always felt very 50-50 about doing them, because I think when we've had this conversation before, that sometimes you miss things, and sometimes what somebody else sees, somebody else doesn't. And you could, at the end of the day, be like, this candidate's amazing, he was really good. And then somebody else would be like, oh, actually, I saw him do X, Y, and Z wrong, and I don't think very highly of them because of that. Or maybe they just saw him in a bad light. And I always find these big group interviews can go 2 ways because of it. And I think, when it was really pony back in the day, like you'd have a huge group, you'd have like about 30 guys, 40 guys in a room. And then you'd all sit down at the end, and you'd all have pieces of paper handing each over, and it's like, oh, who had Josh? And it's like, who's Josh? And then you just have this candidate that nobody knew who they were, and it's like, oh, well, someone said he was really good, but nobody knows who he was. And it's just so it's quite good how they've restructured and reorganized it. And apart from that, it'll just be a big push in February, like, because we know that January's everyone seems to have this idea that January, like 1st January, everyone's in the gym, and it's not quite like that, especially not for PT. Everyone's kind of floating back in, and towards the end of January it really picks up, and then February really kicks off, and then March is just Super Bowl season. So we'll probably spend a lot of January just planning, putting things in place, and then just letting it all kick off.
And then yourself, like with Adam Kent Fitness, Adam Kent's master trainer, PT kind of business.
What any about focus that guy?
Anything you want to focus on yourself, as well as in between?
This will probably be my last year of rugby, playing for Battersea Ironsides. So I want to probably go out with a bit of a bang. So I'm just going to be working on my fitness throughout the winter, just making sure that when I do come back, when rugby comes back, because that's also been delayed and postponed, that I can see out the last couple of months as best as I can. So lots of injury prevention, lots of like fast-paced sprint work, just strengthening up everything that I need to get myself as athletic as I can as a 35-year-old man. And then just from that, just trying to balance it with work and life. I'm a man of many hobbies, so I try to keep work, the passion projects aside.
Very good. My plan is just continue with what's going on with the academy. That's got some real good structure behind it now. We're recruiting for a lot more PT managers in 2022, so the team will grow, better work for a lot more guys that way, which would be good. Some of my own courses which I'll be running, and then I just really want to work-wise focus on this podcast, because people like it and people are getting value from it, so I want to keep this going. I want to get better at doing this, make sure I stay consistent on a monthly, maybe do some live tours, fill out the O2 or something.
I think you should start at the Bedford first.
Yeah.
Well, keep it small, like keep it local.
And then we'll move to the O2. Me, you, mate, and Coldplay. we'll sell it out. So just really push the podcast and where that's going. And then in my own PT world, just keep developing that, get back into training. Seeing a physio tomorrow to get signed off to start cycling and moving better, so then hopefully my knee recovers and I can just crack on. But nice. I'm very much looking forward to 2022. Right then, so that's some highlights. Let's look at closing out. So everyone should be near enough done now, and with this week, we're looking at 4 days this week and then a couple of days next week to do some admin. I think kind of some top tips. I don't know what you told your guys, but I think it's kind of like let your clients know what hours you're working. If you're working this week and if you're working at 27th to the 31st. Are you working now or are you on leave now?
No, I'm on leave. So this is my first day of annual. So glad to be on here working.
Dedicating it to the podcast. So let your clients know when you're working. That's one of the first things you need to do when you close out the year. Then just like organise your accounts and finish any kind of sessions. Like you've probably done all your account stuff last week, sign off sessions.
Yeah, cleared the board. What I always used to hate about December was carrying any sessions over into January, or someone's like, well, this is always going to happen. Like people are going to go on holiday themselves, and you're going to go on holiday. So if someone has bought like 4 sessions for December, you got to now stuff them all in the first 2 weeks. You got front loads that month. Yeah. So your planning really had to start in November for December, and then you just had to make sure that all your ducks were in a row essentially. And that was the big thing I was hitting out in November for my team, just from years of experience. It's been like, you don't want to be that guy that's going into January waiting for your clients to come back, knowing that not only have you got delivered the January sessions, but you've also now got to deliver tail end of December sessions that they didn't do.
Yeah,
and it's just a pain.
It's easy to shut up shop too early, and I think you just need to give yourself a deadline and just be really on top of it. So you don't want to carry any negative energy into 2022. You want to get everything kind of done. You want to get all your sessions done. You want to get any admin that needs to be done, any follow-ups that need to be done, everything off your whiteboard, everything off your to-do list, so you start fresh in January. Yeah, absolutely. One thing I like to do is that Christmas week, 27th to the 31st, that no man's land week, is I'll start sending out all my clients yearly reviews then with just some highlights of what they've done. Because a year's a long time, a lot happens in a year. There's some peaks where where training's going great, and then there's some down stuff, and then there's some bits in the middle. And I think it's important that you really try to look back, even for ourselves, look back for the whole year, not just like the last couple of months, because that's what you remember. Look back at all the things that's happened in a year, and it's actually quite a lot. And that's both with training, with work, and with our clients. I like to send them like a yearly review that Christmas week. And that's about the only work I really do that week. It's just mostly my yearly reviews and a bit of programming. I'll talk about that in a minute. And then finally, one last thing with closing out the year is, if you're self-employed, submit and pay your tax. And then if you have issues with submitting and pay your tax, then drop me a message and I might be able to help you. But do not leave that until January, because as soon as you hit January, so in the self-employed world, Adam, this is how it works. If you submit your tax before December, if it's a massive bill, you can then split that bill throughout the months to pay it off. If you don't hit that 31st of December, you have to pay it in one go. So let's say you've left it really late, you owe $4,000, you've got to pay $4,000 by the 31st of January. Where if you let it by December, you can break it up. So if you've not saved for your tax, if you've if you're submitting, bear in mind you can submit it anytime from April last year. And January 31st is the deadline. But I guarantee there'll be people listening to the podcast that haven't even updated a spreadsheet yet, which is, we've all been there. I've definitely done that. And then in January, I'm submitting it. And oh no, I've got to find all this money by tomorrow. Where if you've got until April to the 31st of Jan to do it. But if you can do it just before Christmas, you can submit it before the 31st of December. And then that way you can split the payment if it is a big monster payment. And again, that is negative energy you do not want to take into 2022. And you've got the time to sit down for a couple hours to get all your books out, to go through all your accounts, to do your expenses and income. Like I said, if you are someone that struggles with that stuff, then reach out. I might better help. But definitely do that before you go into next year.
I would always say this is like a good week, that if you've got anything that's like lagging behind, and just like even just setting yourself up some like programs for the new year, it's just a kind of like a non-week, isn't it? I know you're going to jump in and you're going to tell everyone about how you've done all this, but one thing I did want to say as well, I thought it's always quite a nice touch. It kind of something that you mentioned about sending people their programs or just highlights from their year. I recommended to all my team, just buy a big box of Christmas cards and just get like, you go on Amazon, you can get like 30 Christmas cards for like, 10 or whatever. And just write in it, like obviously like your season's greeting, Merry Christmas, all this, and just put down what they've done that year in it. And it's just such a nice touch that you can look back on a year and just be like, you started at this weight, or you were lifting this, and then now look at you doing this. And I always look really forward to our sessions because you always give 110%. I'm really looking forward to next year when you're renewing, and we'll like then we can crack on with hitting X, Y, and Z. See you in the new year, sort of thing. Yeah, and it just kind of makes it brings that a little bit more personal back into personal training. Touch. You know what I
mean? Yeah. That's a great way to close out the year. If you're seeing any clients this week, then if you can squeeze it in, absolutely. And then topic 3 for the podcast, back into the podcast now, is so we just close out the year. Closing out the year is just admin, sorting all your admin out. And then we got planning for January. So there is a bit of time this week. There is a bit of plan next week. And so what you should also be doing is planning for January. So I'm a big fan. You should go into January with a full diary. You shouldn't be texting people on the 3rd of January saying, are they around? You should have done that already. You want all you need. You grab a coffee, grab your laptop, open up your diary, text everybody you've ever met, try to book them in, and plan that ahead. So you go into that 3rd of January because you're getting over New Year's Eve. You're getting over kind of just having a couple of weeks off. You want to just start your week at 100 months, start the new year on such a positive step. So in these downtime, prep your diary for January. Any tips, Mr. Adam Kemp, for organising your diary?
Well, what I tend to do and what I have got planned for this year as well is I've told everyone when I'm back, I'm taking 2 weeks off. It's the only time of year that I ever take 2 weeks. And I'm back on the 3rd. Now, the 3rd, I think this year is Bank Holiday Monday, so it'll be slightly disruptive on some sessions, but not the major ones. But I've all told them that I'm going to be messaging them a few days beforehand, and their program will be dropping in with them. So it'll be like, hey, just booking you in for this week is, Tuesday 4th going to be fine with you. This is what we've got planned for the next few weeks. And you're just already just kick-starting for them, their January, so there shouldn't be any excuses for people like, wandering back. I think that's always the hard bit sometimes when you've not done that and it's like you've left it last minute. You've left it to the 3rd. Oh, hey, are you about this week? Do you know what? I'll see you the week after, and now you're already a week behind with training and financially. So it's just turning the screws and just making sure that everyone knows where they're going to be, like they do any other time of year. So right, we'll see you Monday 6:30 morning. Bang.
And you're right. They were saying like in terms of holiday periods, like the summer periods, I think's like even for everybody. We can all go away, we can all do whatever. But in January, we do have a bit more responsibility in terms of like people want to start on. If they want to start on the 3rd, you need to be ready. And if that's 20 people, that's 20 lots of programs, 20 lots of admin. You can't be flustered going into January. And so another thing on my list is that between the 27th to 31st, that's when you're not only texting all your current clients, you're texting any potential leads that were that you offered a taster session to in November, December, they haven't booked in. You might be like, listen, John, we said we was going to do a taster, I never got around to booking it in. Shall we book it in January? So you go in with that full diary, you know where you are. And then it's also your time to start doing little bits of programming. So I will 100% do my programming 29, 30, 31. I'll be doing it on those 3 days because I don't want to do anything on New Year's Day or that Sunday 2nd. Just because like I still want to have a bit of a break myself. So that I don't want to be New Year's Day writing programs, Sunday 2nd writing programs, then going into Monday 3rd just knackered. I want to kind of have like good 5 days off for Christmas, 24th to the 28th. Couple of days of programming and yearly reviews. Enjoy the New Year's Eve and New Year's Day, and then Monday 3rd back teaching, full diary, let's go. And we've got a responsibility as trainers to kind of be the energy to kickstart our clients as well as kickstart us. So I think there is.
I was just going to say, I think just for any other trainer listening out to this, just bear in mind as well that your programming for Jan is going to have to be fairly well reduced anyway, because say for myself, there are now people that I've not seen from last week due to COVID. Just some complications where people not being able to come. So now by the time I see them, they've not trained intensely for 3 weeks, and they've had a big Christmas, big New Year's, probably been on the smash a bit. Depending on what your client's like, if you are training, the average Joe, or you're training athletes, 3 weeks is still a while to be away from training. So my first week two like week 1, week 2, will probably be a lot of back to basics, just kind of testing as well. Just be like, right, okay, we're setting up for the new year, we're setting up for a completely new program. Right, let's just see how much that 3 weeks has affected us. So it's not going to be the most rigorous planning and programming, which is actually quite a good thing. Well, I'm sure we'll differ on that. But for those days which you'll do your programming, I will do the same. I'll have that little couple of days there. I'm not going to think like too much about it. I'm just going to be like, okay, cool, right? Pop, right? Test. Okay, and then I've got 2 or 3 weeks already of just kind of, right, okay, cool. This is what we're going to do. This is going to be week 1 test, and week 2 we're going to build on that. Week 3, so forth. So don't stress yourself too much out on your holidays, if you know what I mean.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, and that's the point of it. Is you should have a break. You need a break. And some years I've not really took the break I should have, but I'm very much, it'll be laptop down. I'm not doing anything for a good 5 days, and then I'll come back and I'll be like, right, let's just kind of get my head screwed on again. Let's make sure everybody, because we're dealing with people, we're dealing with a lot of people. It's not like we can, like say the general manager of a gym, they'll be kind of just checking the facilities working. We don't need to do that. We've got to make sure 20 people are working, and they're going to be there on the first week of Jan. So you kind of get all organised, because that organised diary, take the stress off yourself, get a little bit ahead of the times, like by prepping your programs. Even if that's just a week for everybody, just get that initial week prep so you go into January prepared, and then, like I say, then take that New Year's Eve, New Year's Day off to enjoy it, and then you can then just go into January prepared, and the more prepared you are, the less stressed you are. Good. So to close then, mate, take the time in these non-confusing weeks of build up to Christmas and after to reflect on the positives for your clients and for yourself, because a lot's happened every year, and then finish the year organised. Be on top of your admin. Have a break, because it's easy as a PTs not to take breaks, not to take holidays. You're not signing anyone up. Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, no one cares what you're eating. Just kind of have a good time and just do normal people stuff. Make sure you have that downtime, and then do a little bit of prep so you can go hard in January. Would you say as a final point that's everything?
That's very well covered there, Dale.
Very good. I have got something I'm going to super quickly talk about. Is the new course I'm starting in January, this new mentoring program, and I've been trying to nail this mentoring process, and I've done quite a lot of online courses before and trying to figure out whether it's best to have an online course, in-person course, and I've created a bit of a blend, and I looked at the people that I really help, and I've got this mentoring process I've started called Starting from Scratch, and this is for new PTs in general, new PTs in general that have just passed and just looking to get set up in the industry, new PTs that have just moved to a new gym, because when you move to a new gym, you need to be day 1, week 1 mindset again, and if you've been around a bit, sometimes you don't have that, or PTs that are in the same gym but just feel like they've hit a point where they cannot grow. So I've got this mentoring process called Starting from Scratch. It's a 12-week mentoring process. There's a 1-day workshop on January 15th, and then it's 12 weeks of I'll be by your side, I'll be mentoring you for the 12 weeks, and I'll guarantee to get you free sales throughout the 12 weeks. It's a good guarantee, that, mate. 3 new sales.
That's a very good guarantee.
It's I've priced it at a super affordable price. You basically, once you sell one 10-pack or so, you'll basically pay for the course, and I can guarantee that I'll get you to get 3 new sales. So the course is an in-person workshop, a blend of online learning of stuff I've filmed before. So you got, once you come to the course, there's an online variation of the course as well, and then there's just the weekly accountability, because this will horror you, Adam, but some people don't have PT managers.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy.
So some people don't have people like you to their disposal just to bother and ask questions. And if you're in the self-employed world, sometimes you have a PT manager. Sometimes they're there just for the finance and club side. But if you're not there, if you're not getting mentored or you're not getting support by someone, especially when you start, it's a real uphill climb, and there's a lot going on. And sometimes you need someone like yourself or me to kind of de-stress that, and that's what this course, starting from scratch, is all about.
Let me shill for you there as well, because one of the things that I always say about being in air quotes manager, there's very much two sides to what I do. One of the sides is the management side of things, and the other side is the coaching side of things. And the coaching is very much more like the mentoring. You know, I've had a lot of experience in this industry. I've messed up, but I've been successful as well. So I know what all the pitfalls are. I know how to get yourself out of them as well. And the management side of things is very much the organisation, the nuts and bolts behind what you do day to day as a business. And with someone like yourself, Dale, who's very good at both, it's actually one of the things that I talk a lot about with my team is about how much of an influence you had on me when you, back in the day, if you obviously didn't know this, dear listener, that Dale used to be my manager. Which he went around and told everybody when I brought him to the my Christmas party. It's like, oh yeah, I used to manage that guy. Yeah, back in the day. 10 years ago. Old now. But yeah, it was. But there was lots of things and lots of. There was lots that you taught me, and again, how you've grown yourself, and you kind of think even from then, all your experience of. Precision and also like militant admin that you've probably got from the army, and how you've integrated that into a business like this, which is very much a very one-to-one people-facing industry. You've really navigated it so well to a point where you can go from gym to gym and restart your business each time you want to, which I've told so many people how hard that is, even just fathering for me, like just having to restart again, and you've done it like 4 or 5 times with no issue, just because you've got so many things there. Like you just got the tools and and the know-how. So I think it would be an absolutely outstanding course to learn from yourself.
Mate, it's an absolute bargain. I'm not gonna lie. I'll de-stress you 100% on that. But we're not here to sell courses. If you're interested in that, there's a link in the bio with all the details. And then if you've got questions, you'd ask me. So I even put a special January Kickstarter on there if you want to jump in before the 1st of January to get an even bigger saving. So have a look at that. But that's for people that are brand new to the industry, moving to a new gym, or just in a bit of a hole in their current gym and need to reset everything. Right, Adam, thanks very much for being on.
No worries.
You can go back to your annual leave now and enjoy some downtime.
Go back to bed.
I've still got a bit of admin to close out this week, and then I've got to I've not got to edit this podcast because it's perfect. We didn't make one mistake, so well done. Thanks everyone for listening. If you're watching this on YouTube, like and subscribe, because it makes a big difference with the channel. It puts the algorithm in our favour, and it means other people see it. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, then just subscribe. It's a little click, it doesn't cost you anything, but it means a lot for the channel. And Merry Christmas, mate. I hope you have a good one.
Yep.
I will try to see you on Thursday before I go back home, and we'll have
the traditional Adam and Derek meet up in the Hagen and Hyde.
Oh, mate, I nearly missed Christmas Day last time we went out on Christmas Eve. We were just having so much fun. I was like, I need to get the last train home to Kent.
Yeah, one more, get him in. Woo!
Jumping with Santa on the way home. That was nearly missed Christmas Day. But yeah, I'll see you on Thursday or Friday, mate. Anyway, but thanks very much for listening. Have a good Christmas, and I might do one more of these just before Christmas if there's a crazy COVID release, and if there is, we'll be positive, we'll deal with it, and it's not going to be the worst thing in the world. Right, alright guys, have a good one. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.